The townsfolk have erected a statue in your honor. What does the plaque read? I got a 6.
I got a 4. Dan got an 11. You're up first, Dan.
What does your plaque read?
A statue to me, and there's a plaque.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's it. All right, Adam.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah. What's the read? Fuck.
Yeah, my plaque clearly says brush more often. that was a dentistry joke.
What would mine say?
I don't know, Terry. You're the one that asked the question.
It's what are you doing with that hammer, Dan?
It's a Mimic, the Roundtable Dungeons & Dragons discussion podcast, where you never know what you're going to get.
Welcome to another episode in our conversation about role-playing Warlocks in D&D 5th edition. I'm Terry, and with me this week are Adam and Dan.
Hello.
And this episode is called Warlocks.
Hi.
A Matter of Pact. Okay.
Hey,
Oh, fuck.
Come on.
A lot
That's
of things
funny.
went
That
wrong.
one's one of the worst ones.
No, come on. That's good.
We're going to have to rank these things eventually.
It made me realize that maybe I did almost learn the old intro by heart because I almost just said that and I had to stop myself.
Is this the first time you've done the new intro?
This is the first time I've done the new intro. Yeah. Adam, you went as far as to write my name in the intro, so I definitely couldn't fuck it up. As though I was going to say...
I've only done it for Terry's yet.
Hi, I'm Methuselah. Shit, no, God.
Yeah, well, I'm 6 underscores, and with me this week are Adam and Dan. As though I was going to say that. But we're talking about Warlocks. I've got no problem with this. It's, not that, to be honest, there's never really any episodes I have to force myself through. I just remove myself from Gnomes. But for everything else, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Gnomes was good times. Our class specials, like
Evidently.
there's been a trend on some of the class specials to that we're like getting through the motions of it. So there's been times I'm like, all right, we're hitting this again, and then we get to the actual recording of the episode. I'm like, oh no, that was fun. That was
It's
that was
not
good
that
times.
bad, yeah.
No.
I have a good
Yeah.
time when we do the class specials.
Man, did we dread druids the first time through, though, right? Like,
Right.
We shat on druids in the first druid episode.
I still find it hard, but I mean, we've come around on the couple Druids episodes since.
Yep. Honestly, warlocks are my least favorite class. Hands down. I just hate them.
Oh, I don't know if that was the local craft beer or something gave me an acid reflex anyway when he said that. So we're talking about Warlocks again, and we're reading out Xanathars. So there's a few things for topic 1 we're going to cover. We're going to cover the patron's attitude, special terms of the pact, and then a binding mark that some Warlocks may have. So what I'll do is I won't read all of the text, but I'll read the highlights from a little bit of Xanathars, and then we can give some unique ideas for these things if you guys have them, okay? So for the patron's attitude, I mean, we have that old school Warlock style of they've sold their soul for power, and maybe they went towards like an evil sort of patron, and they get their power, and we've all seen that story arc. But we're getting to the point now with D&D where we're starting to explore different attitudes from patrons, maybe not necessarily good, but sometimes good, but different sort of motives and different relationships with the Warlock that go with that. So if you guys, Adam, you look like you're going to jump in and say something.
Yeah, I hate the idea that you know what the patron wants.
Right.
The patron should always be a little unknowable.
I don't know, man. Like for me, it's viewing the tip of the iceberg. You know a section of what the patron wants. You have to. Like that's part of the deal process. You
Not
have to know what's
necessarily.
coming back to you.
No. You know what you're being commanded. You know what the patron wants from this moment. But to know the general schemes and the ideas, the inner workings of a great old one, an archdevil, an archfiend, a demon lord, these things need to be a little bit unknowable. The same way that, like, your cleric, what's the fucking word? Domain, right? That the god prescribes to. But what are they doing today? You shouldn't really have an idea of that. You should know the broad strokes, but not the specifics with the god. And I feel like it's the other way around with the Warlock patron. You know specifically what they want today, but you have no idea what their crazy-ass grand schemes are.
Right, that's true. Like, you have no idea, like, if yours is a fiend, what part you're playing in the strategy of the Blood War. You just know that today they've said, you got to go to that camp and deal with this.
Exactly. And so it says right at the beginning, in the opening blurb for Xanathars, for Warlocks in Xanathars, rather, it says that it's really all about sages and wizards following a certain amount of intelligence and knowledge, and then at some point they realize, wait a minute, this is dangerous. I'm not doing this anymore. Warlock's like, nah, fuck that, I'm going for it, right? And based on the flavor text that they have here, you would think that a Warlock would be an intelligence caster. Because they are digging into arcane, ancient secrets that they should be, getting bestowed upon them because of these pacts and these boons that they're getting from working with whoever it is that's out there.
Well, that's the thing. They're not researching them and grasping them with their own intellect. They are being bestowed. They are being gifted.
Not according to the flavor text in Xanathar's. So, I happen to have it direct in front of me. Where sages or wizards might heed a clear sign of danger and end their research, a warlock plunges ahead, heedless of the cost. Therefore, it's about research. And then they drop, thus it takes a peculiar mixture of intelligence, curiosity, and recklessness to produce a warlock. Nothing in there is about gifts being bestowed. I mean, it's all in the player's handbook, of course it is. But you can make a strong argument for an intelligence-based warlock caster, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it fits a little bit, but the idea that they want more knowledge and they're not getting enough, and this is going to make them go further down that road, which is why I would say they're leveling up in it and gaining more power as they're learning more about what their patron wants.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this discussion before where we think warlocks fit as an intelligence caster, and based on balance in the game, it's weird that they weren't as well.
Yeah.
When you have so many different, you've already got bards and sorcerers. Why do you need another arcane based, or rather old world based charisma caster? It makes no logical sense, right? So I'm with you on that one. They definitely should be intelligence, or intelligence should at least play more into what they do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. The only thing that I would like to see more in Warlocks is we often hear the story of why they sought out the patron. I sought out my patron for this. Whether your family was burned, you had to go save them out of desperation or whatever it is. But I like the idea of the patron that maybe sought out the Warlock for whatever reason. Perhaps the individual, the Warlock, never intended for it to go down that way. Perhaps it was just a ritual that for whatever reason invited this patron, as they do, show up every now and again for whatever reason, and the deal went the way it did purely out of circumstance or because the patron...
Well, I pulled that rug out
Warlock
from underneath both of you at separate times and forced a level of Warlock onto each of you.
Well, that's the thing. We have already said multiple times that we don't like the Warlock class as a base. I mean, I personally... I see
great for multi-class.
I see the weakness in it, and it's as a solo class, it's great for multi-classing. But there is no other class in this game that is designed and feels really, really right taking levels randomly, at level 8 or level 12.
It seems to work for a lot of things, though, right? You can imagine the struggling wizard that just can't get to grips with it, that just yearns for more power, and it's taken 50 years already to get this far, and then just boom, just like that.
The cleric that hasn't heard from their god in 7.5 months,
right?
Finally, in a moment of desperation, leans on an angel instead, right?
Yeah,
There's definitely ways to do that. The only other one that really pops into my head is being, yes, obviously you can get this at any time as a sorcerer. Just at some point you're under enough stress that bang, level 1, you got some cantrips in you. Right?
Yeah.
Your bloodline activates. That's the only other one that I feel can just be dropped without doing homework and research and training and that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's arguments to be made for fighter as well, or bard. Like, you just suddenly get to gain that connection to the weave in such a way where you start understanding that there are certain words of power. So you take levels in bard, or you've got some downtime, so you spend a month just training with the local militia.
Well,
and you can take that level.
But that's what I mean is that shit is earned.
Yes,
you don't have to earn Warlock or Sorcerer.
No.
So,
what about special terms of the Pact, though? This is a part of Xanathar's I enjoyed reading in my research because, lots of times, like I said, we've kind of had the classic tropes, but Xanathar's is right in that sometimes it's kind of like an informal, almost like done on a handshake. Sure, anything you want. Don't worry, I'll be by when I need a favor. Sometimes it's devil-like, very specific in the details to the letter. Here's a 200-page contract. It could be done out of desperation by the patron. Like, you happen to show up for whatever's happening just in time for that patron. Be like, hey, motherfucker, I need you to help me now. Give me something. Sure, anything you want. There's different ways we could explore that. Have you guys ever had ideas of your own that maybe you have been able to use or haven't been able to use based on special terms of a pact?
Well, my rule has always been, because the patrons I use have been not homebrew, I've always relied on the actual player's handbook. subclasses. But the patrons have been kind of my own characters. They're not that they have fit different in different ways, right?
It's not Asmodeus, but it is, and it's not Cthulhu, but it is some other great old one aspect, or it is an imp.
Yeah.
That is your own creation or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, and so, I don't know, I looked at what the special terms were for each of you, and the terms for Terry's was you get power as long as you don't take your suit of armor off.
Yeah, that was with my character.
And then you physically couldn't take it off, but there was going to be some anti-magic field that lets you get away with it, and if you did it, you're going to lose a level in Warlock, right?
Oh, really? Yeah. I remember it never bothered my character so much, but it pissed his wife off all the time, because you said you just have, had to have,
to keep
shin
one
blade on or something.
Always has to be
gauntlet.
contact.
Yeah.
And then for Dan's, it was, you have to follow our rules. Just trust us. And the idea is that if you ever do anything to undermine the path that we have set you on, then we're just going to strip that shit away from you. And we're going to stop supporting you. Right? And we don't have in 5th edition, negative levels.
Yeah.
But holding that over a character's head as a Warlock patron
I like that.
is a lot of fun.
And I did make notes on that.
And as a player, it's fun to dance that line as well.
Isn't it? That's the type of D&D you should be playing, Dan.
Yeah, right? To be I know my patron's not going to be happy with this action, but I gotta, right? And let's just see what happens. And then you get the sternly worded mental message
of, that's one freebie.
Yeah, you get one. Don't do it again, or there will be consequences.
Yeah, everybody gets one. What about terms of the pact changing? That's what I thought, because I was thinking, the people at home may have figured it out. I'm thinking fiends here, but I imagined the devil that would put this power upon my warlock as being, change the command downstairs. Things are going to change, and so we need this now. We need this now. Forget everything that the last guy said. This is what we need now. I
like how and we'll probably get to this later, but the idea that your contact with your patron, if you have an fiend level patron, is just like a normal dude who's a lawyer who comes by occasionally and be like, hey, word from upstairs. Here's a new contract. Need you to sign it in blood, of course. Here's the needle.
We've dissolved the old one.
The old one, you've met the terms, but if you want to maintain the level of power, there's got to be some sort of give and take here.
Yeah.
So,
or it just comes up wearing a red tie instead of a blue tie.
Yeah,
all change downstairs. Here's the new one.
Well, it should always be changing, right? First of all, if it's a demon lord, that shit should change on a dime.
Same with Great Old One.
Well, even Great Old One, I would say that you don't even really know what the terms were in the first place. It's just make sure that the wet darkness is always touching the green sky. And you're just whatever the fuck that means. Yes, okay. I think I know what that is. But the Archfey as well should just be ferns.
I would like some buttons.
Just ferns. That's the whole, it's one word. It's I don't know what this means.
What about
Isn't it obvious?
Yeah.
Are you telling me it's not? Because maybe you're not the person I should be giving these powers to.
Exactly.
It's obvious.
And then by the time you get around to the Celestial, you're doing things for the greater good, and that's great, but you've racked up a hell of a body count recently, and we're going to need you to do even more to counterbalance this bloodshed. You know what I mean? There's got to be that kind of shifting evolution to a contract.
I love the idea of the Celestials being, you kind of made them sound more like devils there, in that it was about the details and the quotas more than it was the general feel. We talk about the greater good. Surely I'm doing good. If we check the numbers, you're not doing that good. It needs to be. You need to be doing.
You have three
good.
big actions in the good column, but there's a lot of little actions in the evil one, and we're not seeing a good balance.
Yeah, I don't have a good argument for the big guys if you're doing it this way.
I still have problems that we have, detailed demons and detailed devils on either side of the alignment spectrum in evil, but we just have celestials. We don't really have very good chaotic, not very good fleshed out chaotic good.
Oh, we do.
Upper level beings.
We do, but you need to look at the other material outside of the monster manual. There is stuff in Ravnica and Theros. They have all sorts of celestial stuff.
I meant stock Forgotten Realms D&D. There's nothing kind in that chaotic good realm other than I don't know, certain elves fit that to me.
No, they're not celestials. I mean, Eladrin.
Well, Eladrin, that's where I was going.
But I think unicorns are chaotic good, technically, aren't they? But
that's your choice.
There's Coatls as well, but I'm not sure that they're...
Coatls are lawful, aren't they?
Yeah. So, like, there are other... I mean, what's a Hollyphant?
Oh, lawful.
Are they?
Yeah, lawful annoying.
Yeah, well, yes, you're not wrong. But no, I feel like if your contract doesn't come up at least... Your contract should be coming up for renewal once every 3 or 4 levels. Every time there's an ASI, the DM should be sitting there going, we're going to change the wording of this just a little bit to keep shunting you in this direction. And everyone complains, what do you do at high-level play? Oh, all you could do is fight gods. No, bitches, fight a patron.
Yeah.
Have your warlock fight a patron.
Yeah.
Have a warlock get possessed by a patron. And then have the warlock be the bad guy. Right? Have the terms ever shifting until they say, I can't do it anymore. And then have the character scrap all of their warlock levels and take on paladin levels instead because they're getting beefed by a bigger guy now, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Like I would really start looking at... We talk about class levels like they're set in stone, and this is the first edition that's the case, right? And so, I don't know, anyone with old school knowledge of D&D is like, oh, no, fuck that, rewrite it. This ranger thing should have more magic. Now it's a druid thing. So we're going to undo that and do this instead.
Right.
Right? Like... The class is just your experiences, right?
Yeah.
And well, that's how it should be if you're role playing. A lot of people just min-max, and if that's the case, go nuts.
I like the idea you said there about contract renewal. I like the idea of finite contracts, and I like the idea of renewing the contract right when something big's about to go down. You know, it's kind of like the football player having to do it right before the Super Bowl. It's like, well, this is what we're offering you now. If you win the Super Bowl, it might be worth a lot more, but if you lose a Super Bowl, we're taking it all away. So I like the idea of contracts up for renewal. We could lock you in for another 5 years.
Well, the thing is, there should also be, in my opinion, you kind of touched on something there with conditions. Like there should be conditional, like a stepped conditional thing with a patron as well.
Well,
where
see,
like if you meet this goal, you get this, but if you get this goal, you get this. If you get this goal, you get this.
Right.
And I mean that's just leveling.
Yeah,
but
it
you can
can
do
also
some
be
interesting flavor.
It can also be the renown mechanic that you have as well from the DMG. And a lot of people look at Warlock patrons because they think of Great Old Ones and Cthulhu, who is malevolent as all hell, and Fiends and Hexblade. Those are the 3 big ones, right? So it's unknowable evil, knowable evil, and violent.
Well, there's
blade,
all
right? And
Archfey also gets a bit of a spotlight with things.
But for the most part, those are the 3 that everyone talks about when you see the online communities and whatnot. And when you're dealing with negotiating, I feel like everyone's talking about the negatives.
Right.
Right. Let's talk about the positives. Like what Dan said, you get this, or at this level you get this, and you should be leading people by the nose, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Here's what I had for you guys. I separated it into 4 categories. It was fame, fortune, power, like might, like actual, like not necessarily muscles, but I can do shit now.
Yeah.
And death, right? So the idea is that you would get long-lasting life or something at the end of it, turn you into a fiend or into a come join us in our. For you, it was a coven circle day, right? So, but there are other ways to do it too. Like you can have the whole like. She will fall in love with you if you follow my way of doing this, right? Like you can get the other motivating factors of sex is the big one that I tend to leave out of my D&D unless Terry's at the table.
Jamie goes for that.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
I fought it for a while
actually, and Dan did have a harem of dwarves.
There were 5.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
5 or 6.
yeah.
It got up there.
Was it good or not?
I decided,
I've always wanted...
it was kind of a random decision halfway through making this character. He would just have a taste
that you were going
for
to have
dwarves.
a harem of dwarves?
No. That he would have a taste for dwarves. Like that was his preference.
Well, there's a little bit of us in every character, Dan.
He's a gnomish guy. He wanted, he liked something with a little bit more substance.
Binding marks. Anyway.
I miss Lockie so fucking much, man.
It was fun, man.
He was one of the most all characters I've ever actually played.
I miss all of my characters in a way. Like sometimes I play little games with myself. Like if I could only
need to know about those
one again, if I could only play with one again, which one would I play with?
The left one.
The left one. Because it's bigger than the right one, and that's the one I want people
Go
to see.
to the doctor, Terry. Doctor.
Should not be noticeably bigger.
Oh.
Can anyone else feel their heartbeat in theirs, or is it like what's good? Anyway?
Binding marks, anyway. So the idea that you have some kind of mark, however creative you want to get with it, that your patron has bestowed upon you as the Warlock. I mean, there's the obvious things you can think of, like some sort of branding or scarring or a tattoo, maybe. But, you know, what we do on this podcast is we try and be creative. So if you guys have ideas for binding marks, I'd love to hear them.
Well, ritual.
A ritual. It's something to carry that needs to be with you, though.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. Every morning, part of your morning thing is a morning not like a ritual spell that you get, but like an actual morning ritual your character has to go through. A little bit of OCD.
Yeah, but right? The ones in Xanathar's are specifically physical attributes.
I know. That leaves a binding mark throughout the day.
Is it like that? I can never remember what it's called. The Albino Monk in...
self-flagellation.
Yeah, there it is. That's from the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
They've got an assassin who's like flogging himself on the back in order to get off. What was it?
I don't know. The Da Vinci Code's horseshit. Anyways,
you're not wrong.
The whole idea, like for some reason I'm going mentally like to the white handprint on the face and yelling up at the sky Saruman or whatever the fuck it is, right? Like something that your character it doesn't have to be a permanent mark. But it is something that your character needs to put on them in the morning to gain access to the spells. Kind of like that direct conduit. Right? And if for whatever reason your character doesn't, then their spellcasting is hindered or something like that. They gain a level of exhaustion. Something.
Well, one of the things that it says in Xanathar's is they take it out of the player's hand, out of the character's hand. And this one that's listed in Xanathar's is specifically about the patron enjoying... or just choosing to mark their warlocks, people that follow them. And so it's bestowed upon you whether you fucking like it or not. So I do like the ritual thing, and I think that's really cool. I'm not big on promoting the self-harm factor that we just talked about, but you could very much do something like every day I've got to carve the 7-pointed star into my temple or whatever, right? Or just... Like keep that scab open because of whatever, right?
Well, it could even be like you have to tattoo yourself. Or there is a moment like with Great Old Ones, there's a lot of mental shit going on. There is just an hour of your day every day that is gone. You don't know what happens during that.
Yeah.
Right? And your whatever happens to your character during that hour is completely out of your character control, and that is your binding mark. Right? And like you always walk away from that with some physical sign that has happened for the day.
You got me thinking there, Dan, when you talked about rituals, and my mind went to Lost, the TV show, the code to put in.
Sorry.
Lost was way better than anybody gives it credit for. I'm sorry that people legitimately don't understand the ending of it, but fuck y'all and your cynical shit.
I have no problem with the ending of Lost. It's the
I should have known not to bring this up.
The second Daniel Faraday hops on the screen, I check out for 2 seasons.
Oh, that's because you're wrong.
Yeah, probably. Terry?
I can't even remember. The ritual, the code, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, but
4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
No, it's not. Is
it
really?
Yeah.
What is it?
4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
See, they're lucky I wasn't on that island because I would have fucked that up immediately.
So you're Hurley. Check.
Took
that guy less than a day.
I would immediately have fucked that up. I'd be like, y'all can't put me in charge of it. If you need anybody to run a short distance very quickly, that's me. I can pick relatively heavy things up, but I'll need to put them back down again within a few seconds. Like, I'm not... This is what you guys got me for.
Does anyone need anyone to work out? I could work out.
I can remember... Or... I can encourage other people to.
Yep.
That's what I have. But I like the idea of the ritual where something may go wrong, but you don't know what it is. So but you must do this thing every day, or maybe you start to see signs. Maybe the rest of the party or the NPCs with you start to get. Did I spit on you? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Start to get sick or coughing or something, and it escalates. And how long are you going to let this go on for? You don't know what the end game is before you just do the ritual.
I like that idea where like it's nothing on your character, but it's things that happen around him, and he starts seeing these omens and signs of effects of, oh crap, I need to check in with the powers that be, because if I don't, holy crap, that guy's going to die of cancer.
Oh, but little things at first, like for whatever reason you have a baby there, the baby starts crying. And then the dog starts barking. Yeah. And then the wind picks up. And you're like, it just keeps escalating.
This is a great opportunity to sit down with your player or sit down with your DM before you even build the campaign, before you even play session 1, sometime in session 0, and build a list of omens that are an escalation that are just something as a DM you could throw it with little mentions just to make your Warlock player tweak, right? Like you're walking down the road and you see a crow pass overhead. No one's gonna, keep a note of that, but your Warlock player, if you've set it up, goes, "Oh shit, that's a bad omen." Start dealing with omens and stuff with your Warlock. That's lots of fun.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, all right. Sorry, sidebar, because I've just spent the last 4 minutes thinking about this. Dan is Hurley because everybody loves Hurley, and he's genuinely like a nice guy and wants everybody to. And he's probably the main character of the story. We just don't know it at this point. Terry is Miles, who showed up in season 4 or 5. He was one of the guys that parachuted in. He was the guy that could see the dead people and was just thoroughly, fuck this, because this is going to go badly, and leaves the room every time shit goes down. And I'm clearly Ben.
I haven't seen it for so long that I can't comment on it, because I can't remember. Like, I can just remember Matthew Fox being out of breath all the time and not understanding where Kate has gone. And
there was just a lot of wandering through the jungle for a long period of time. And then they were wandering through the past, and then they wandered through.
I'll have to rewatch it,
yeah,
I think.
so,
I'll have to rewatch it before I can come back and give an accurate answer on this. Yeah. Dan, you're the only person I've ever met where I want you to be mean more often. Like, I've never...
It'll never happen.
Hit me harder, is what Terry's saying.
I know, which is why it will never happen, Terry. That's why I
You gotta
have
leave
furniture.
them wanting, right?
I'm analysing things a lot. Megan said something a few weeks ago. I won't sidetrack me on
Wow,
this.
that's a really awkward segue.
Is it you calling her Dan in some weird, like, Freudian slip?
Did I do that?
Yeah.
you
But I
did
always
that.
fucking do that, though, to everybody.
You call everybody Dan? Terry,
no,
I get
well,
concerned sitting next to you when
I'll
you
say the
things
wrong
like this.
name, but it's because there's only 2 other people here other than me, and it's just I'm just in my zone. I'll just say a name.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah. I moan your name at night as well, Dan.
That's fair.
It's one of the episodes I call Megan Dan.
Yeah, like right off the bat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Go listen to Undead Beholders.
Really?
It's right at the beginning of that one, yeah. Episode 92.
Forget what I was going to say about Megan, but we're glad she's here.
So, can we talk for a second about the options that they have given us in Xanathar's
Of course.
on these D6 tables? Because they kind of drive me up the fucking wall.
Yeah, that's why I didn't bring them up, actually. That's just what it does to give our own answers.
They're a good place to start,
Yeah.
but the one for the patron attitudes, like your patron has guided and helped your family for generations and is kindly towards you. Sure, okay, I'm bored already. Down to number 5, your patron tricked you into a pact and treats you as a slave. I think that was pretty common. It's weird that one of them is your patron is the spirit of a long dead hero. That's not an attitude, guys. And as a matter of fact, that's not one of the patron options.
Yeah.
So, the fuck is that doing on the table?
Yeah.
Who sees your pact as a way for it to continue to influence the world.
Like, sure, but celestial... Can you become an angel? No. Can you can become a devil or a demon, so that's the only way that applies. I wanted to see attitudes like a D6 table.
Undying. That one's undying.
Assuming that they are not dying, right? So that's the thing. The long dead hero doesn't fit, right? And so this is my issue. I wanted a D6 table for each kind of patron, right? So you have 6 different Archfey,
yeah.
headspaces or great old ones or
Because
whatnot.
that's one that people are going to struggle with, Archfey.
Yeah.
Because I think for the newer players, bless them, they don't know. They'll see Archfey and they'll maybe just go like probably more like elf-like than Archfey-like. You know, it'll be watered down a little bit.
Speaking of watered down, that's what I thought about the special terms of the pact as well.
And my sex tape as well.
Well, that's weird.
Piss.
You can never wear the same outfit twice, since your patron finds such predictability to be boring. That's very, very Archfey.
Yeah.
Your pact tests your willpower. You're required to abstain from alcohol or other intoxicants. Like a celestial, I guess. But again, I want a different one for each one of the patrons. And I think that if I'm going to go down the Warlock route, I'm going to talk this out with my DM and say, I need something better than what's offered in Xanathar's.
Yeah.
Can you give me a D4 table? Don't make them do too much work, right? And then there's the binding marks, which is all one of your eyes is different. You've got a vestigial tail. Your tongue is an unnatural color. It's all very surface level.
Yeah,
shit.
superficial type. Yeah.
I mean, where are the tentacles? Mm-hmm. And I mean, no,
Yeah, for the great old one.
yeah, but seriously, where are the tentacles? No, but like there should be a halo if you're doing a celestial, right? There should be something
But
that
these
really
still glow.
horns, motherfucking horns on devils and demons and
Third eye, there should be some weird shit pop up
it's just not weird enough. Each time you wake up, a small blemish on your face appears in a different place.
That's my life.
That's the main villain from Robin Hood Men in Tights.
That's not even that. That's your bard drawing a dick on your face every morning.
Exactly, a
While
different
you're asleep,
place.
right?
But
So-
he's such a master. He just looks exactly the same every day.
Yeah, your nose glows in the dark. Okay, I need you to stop, wizards. I know what you're trying to do here. And now I just want to see the Rudolph that is inspired by Call of Cthulhu. Right? So you see the glowing nose and then it comes out of the fog.
We all
and there's
want
55 tentacles where legs should be and shit.
Not the Firbolg warlock with the
Oh
glowing
no,
nose.
no, that was a
Come
lot
on.
of fun. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Listen to our first Christmas special. But no, the idea of what these things should have been is so much better than what we ended up getting in Xanathars.
Yeah.
Although I do like them in theory. I'm glad they talked about it.
Yeah, I
But
like the direction that you're going, Wizards. It's just,
you didn't go
as
all the way there.
always, you just gotta, in for penny, in for pound, as we say in England. Do it right.
How much is a penny in England?
What do you mean? How much? It's the cent equivalent to a dollar.
1 pence, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's a pence. 1 pence. Yeah,
So a pence and a penny is the same thing?
How many pence in a pound?
Yeah. See, now that was okay. I'll tell you guys a quick story. If you're not interested in coin theory, go away for a minute.
Break down English economy.
Yeah, I always thought that penny was just short for pence because I was in England, right?
Yeah.
Why would I ever think anything different? So it was only when I moved to Canada that I realized that you call the coin the penny.
Yeah.
So I was always when people would be like, "Pass me a penny," I was like, "That's so funny that you do that. Thanks for including us in your." And people were like, "What are you talking about?" Because I just thought it was always short for pence, penny, pence.
Yeah. All right. So what's a shilling?
Oh God, I couldn't tell you.
Is that old? Out of
That's old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like I
It's
honestly
ye
never
old
even
currency.
learned.
So how
Never
many
done
pence inside of a pound?
100.
There's 100 pence in a pound.
Yeah,
And
it's the same metric.
okay, what's a step up from a pound?
a farthing.
2 pounds.
No. What's a farthing? There's shillings to farthings as well. But I think I'm in Robin Hood times now.
Yeah,
right?
that's
okay.
I don't even. And then
When
there's
do I just give someone a goat?
sixpence and all this and yeah, it's I don't even know. I don't even know.
What I'm trying to say in this episode is I have several goats that for some reason or other need to be pawned off.
Give them to Terry because he has the Fiend patron later
But
on.
I'm from the north where we just say like £10.
Oh, well,
I don't want to know
No,
what
no.
you're doing with goats. Yeah, you're not getting goats if you're from the north.
That's another thing that we do in England as well. Not the goats, but that's how we describe where we're from. We'll be like, it's perfectly normal for me to go, "I'm Terry, I'm from the north," but apparently that's very sinister sounding over here to just describe that I'm.
Well,
from,
no, because we're
I'm
all from the north.
yeah, no, that's what I say when I go down to visit Mieka. Right?
Yeah,
They're
I
like,
can
"Oh,
see-
hey, you're Mieka's boyfriend." I'm like, "Yes, I'm from the north."
I'm from the north.
Yeah.
Oh, what news from the north?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so fucking cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, what are we moving on to?
A
Topic
commercial.
2. Subclasses.
Hello, lovely listeners.
Or as I like to call you all, my NPCs.
Damn it, we're recording a commercial.
Right.
For those of you who aren't aware, we're currently in the middle of a massive project called The Many Roads to Amelia, where we're continuing our Call of Cthulhu series. Adam has been working tirelessly with a number of people to bring different kind of actual play to you guys.
Or NPCs.
Stop that.
No.
As I was saying, from October 2020 to October 2021,
That's 13 months.
on the 13th of each month, we'll be releasing a single episode of our homebrew saga that lays the groundwork for our next miniseries. Adam has taken over as the keeper of arcane secrets, allowing me to join all the other players on this bizarre and horrifying ride that Adam's twisted mind has come up with.
But here's the fun part. Each of these episodes is a one-shot with only a single player. I've massaged the rules to make it a little deadlier and secretly worked with each player to craft each separate story to be radically different in plot, theme, pace, and tone. That means that the players have no idea what the others are up to or what parts of the clues or overarching story the others may know.
We're not even allowed to listen to the episodes as they get released, so we'll be going into the next miniseries completely blind.
This is exciting because it gives us the unique opportunity for attentive listeners like yourselves to actually know more about what's going on than the players do. That means that you can sit by and listen to all the voices from the Deep Dark of Radiance return, mostly with new characters, and you might be able to put the pieces together in ways that the players won't.
Also, there's the threat that if our character dies or goes insane in our one-shot, we won't be invited back for the next series. That's keeping us paranoid, curious,
And sometimes reckless.
and desperate.
So, tune in every month to listen to me and either Dan, Terry, Dave, Megan, or Mieka
Or Brad, or the 5 new voices.
as we whittle down the list of survivors and take a look at what mysteries and horrors are slowly unfolding in Northern Canada, Southern America, and subterranean Egypt. There are many roads to Amelia, and you are invited to walk them all with me over the next year. Just check the It's a Mimic feed on your favorite podcast provider for a new episode on the night of the 13th each month.
Until then, let's jump back into the episode. So, can you give me a hint because I'm recording this commercial with you?
Yes, I could, but I won't.
I hate you.
I know.
Okay, we're talking subclasses. So each of us have a subclass, as we always do, and we'll roll and we'll go in order, and then we'll take I'll take the people at home through our subclasses. You guys are ready?
I'm just going to
Dan?
whip the dice at Adam.
Into the box, please. I got 17, 11, and 9.
No, I got, you got a 3 because I bumped you. I got a 9.
So I got an 11. So I will go first.
All right, hold on. Before you get started, I just want to say, if you want to hear about the Pact, go to the first Warlock episode. We also broke down all the regular class features. We're just hitting the other 3 subclasses that we haven't hit so far.
Yeah, which in this regard is patrons.
Yes, so specifically the patrons from the PHB. All of Xanathar's patrons are over there. So
Yeah. Okay, so I got probably my favorite of all of the patrons that are available to Warlocks from any source. It is the Great Old One. This is going to be anything from the Great Cthulhu to the horrors from the cosmic realm beyond all knowing to nature. Not the god of nature, but nature as a concept. So we have some examples that they give in this book are not only your Cthulhus or your natures, but also Tharizdun, the chained god. This is an imprisoned god that is held in a realm that is unattainable. So you're going to get that little whisper of shit.
I think is your favorite?
Tharizdun, I love Tharizdun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's been in a couple different modules and things that I've run in the past. But you have like,
You know who Dendar is? Who's listed? Dendar, the Night Serpent?
no.
He's one of the Yuan-Ti gods.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
they've got
okay.
3 gods, and Dendar is, I don't want to say the good one, because they're all evil as fuck, but he's the least chaotic destruction of them.
Yeah. I mean, these are often going to be these obscure deities or unfathomable entities, or elder gods is where these fall. So in terms of scope of what your Great Old One patron could be, it's really limited by your imagination only. So
As long as it doesn't fall into the category of one of the other ones.
yeah,
they're okay.
right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of your umbrella catch-all for stuff that doesn't go through. Anyways, so with all of the other patrons, you start off with your expanded spell list, which at first level, you get Dissonant Whispers and Tasha's Hideous Laughter.
I like that. That's fun.
Yep.
That's on theme.
Second level, you get Detect Thoughts and Phantasmal Force.
Detect Thoughts is one of those ones that I feel never comes up enough.
Nope, but when you start playing with old ones, it will, because
Yeah.
the Great Old One is a very mental patron. At third level, you get Clairvoyance and Sending.
You incidentally, you have to say it like Terry does in his home country. It's mental.
That's the south.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mento.
It's mental from the south.
From the south.
From
Yeah.
the south. From the south.
Yeah.
In the north, in Middlesbrough, we say, you're fucking mental, aren't you?
At fourth level, you get Dominant Beast. I'm down. It's kind of weird you don't get... sorry. I'm down. And Everett's Black Tentacles. Yes, please.
I bet.
Yeah.
I've seen your browser history.
You should
Did
know
you say
better.
Brazzers history?
I said, well, no, but I'm going to retcon that to yes.
And at fifth level, you get Dominate Person.
Terry.
And Telekinesis.
We often don't get Terry to just like giggle to himself on the podcast. That was a good one.
So, I mean, all of these clearly fit this overwhelming mental power and assault and will. That's kind of what you're going with these kind of spells.
Do you feel like it would be harder to deal with a Great Old One than something like a Fiend?
Yes.
Because it's incomprehensible, right?
I mean, you look at a demon and it's going to be crazy and chaotic and violent, and like that's the level you're going to have with a demon. But the devil, you're going to know how to work with the devil. But
it's important to the devil, for example, that you understand what it wants, right? It's not just, what do the noises mean?
Yeah, and the Great Old One is just, what does it mean when I wake up every morning to static?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and
there's just an ongoing bubbling noise in the back of my mind, and I don't understand it.
Yeah. So starting at first level, when you choose this patron, or when this patron chooses you, you get Awakened Mind. And basically, this is a ability to telepathically speak to any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. Language doesn't matter. This is potentially one of the most powerful first level abilities.
As long as a creature understands a language.
Any language. As long as it understands a language, you're good. But that language doesn't
matter. Essentially means it has to have an intelligence
of
level
3 or more.
Well,
pretty much.
Not necessarily. There are some things that have an intelligence level of 3 or more that don't have a language. But for the most part, you're right.
Yeah. But this is great for your sneaky characters. Because
it's also great for some of those fucking weird monster languages that exist out there, like Manticore.
Yeah.
Like Manticore speak. They're not just flying lions. Get in there. Like, you can mess with them. And
yeah.
For those, and I think, we won't go down languages too much, but I think the idea of languages, we think of like languages like us, but when I imagine things like deep speech, I imagine like it sounds like a didgeridoo. You know, like there's no way we could figure that out. So those...
Unless you're from Australia, yeah.
No, but I mean, like it's always strained credibility that people understand Chewbacca or R2-D2.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of like it's technically a language because they can talk to each other, but it's not really a language, is it?
Yeah. At 6th level, you get Entropic Ward, which basically lets you turn a failed attack into good luck for yourself. This lets you, This lets you, when a creature makes an attack against you, you use your reaction to make it roll with disadvantage. If the attack then misses because of the disadvantage, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn, and this recharges on a rest.
I like the flavor that's in the name that they don't really discuss in the...
actual details.
Yeah. The idea that the ward that you have is they come and hit you and you make their muscles wither and they become weak, so they have disadvantage. And then because they're temporarily weak, you get advantage on yours. You take advantage of them, yeah. So, like, I like the idea of you literally withering your enemies with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At 10th level, you get Thought Shield. Which
it's called a helmet.
It's called Magneto, is what it is. Your thoughts can't be read by telepathy or any other means unless you allow it. You also gain resistance to psychic damage. Take 3 levels of Barbarian and you get them all.
Totem Warrior, but
that's what I mean. Yeah. And whenever a creature deals psychic damage to you, that creature also takes the same amount of damage that you do. Straight up,
I'm rubber and your glue.
Yeah, with psychic damage. I will take half damage. You will also take half damage, right? Because it's whatever damage you take, it's taking, and you have resistance.
This is really thematic for things. You know, I would pick an Elder Brain as my great old one.
That would fit.
And
that would fit really, very well. Yeah,
thematically speaks to this.
Well, also, I mean, Mind Flayers are creatures from beyond the stars, right?
Yeah, but they're so low level that you'll be more powerful than a Mind Flayer by like level 10, no problem. So I'm looking for like one of the big scary Mind Flayers, but an Elder Brain specifically to reach out and fuck with you.
The only thing I have a problem with is, I mean, this is a great being.
There's not that many of them. There's like America, Asia, like
not continents.
Oh, sorry,
continents. Because he pees.
Right.
Yeah. How many creatures out there did actually deal psychic damage?
As we keep going, more and more of them are. Well, this is the D&D edition, right? This is what happens as D&D continues to go on. We don't get psychic damage at the beginning, And by about the midpoint, we start to see it, and now we know the end is nigh.
Yeah.
Right? There's too much psychic shit coming in the near future.
Yeah.
So finally, at 14th level, what you do is you basically implant mind worms and create a thrall. You can use your action to touch an incapacitated humanoid. Note, they do not have to be unconscious, just incapacitated, which covers a wide gamut of things. Listen to the conditions episodes. That creature is now charmed by you until a remove curse, which is a 5th level spell?
No, it's 3rd level.
3rd level spell, is cast on it. Or if you use this feature again, you can communicate telepathically with the charmed creature as long as the two of you are on the same plane of existence. This is just this is something I think like Dracula or the high vampire lords, this level of thing should be there, where you create a thrall. You create someone who is completely subservient to you, and you have connection to them. You become basically their lower level patron, their lower P patron.
There's a lot of this kind of shit all over Eberron, between the Dalkir, which are the aberrations that live in their version of the Underdark / Hell regions, as well as they've got an entire like crazy amount of creatures from the dream realms as well that are all psychically connected to things. And I really like the idea of doing this to one of the other players in your group.
Really?
Why not? All it is charmed, which they're already friendly with you, and you can psychically talk with them at any place in the plane.
Yeah, but you only get the one.
Yeah, but how often am I going to use this on Goblin number 3? Right? Especially at 14th level. Right, I can set up a spy maybe, but if your DM's not going in that direction, if you're combat heavy and the end of tier 3, I would absolutely do this, especially if you've got that monk that is always just taken off and is 100 yards in front of everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, just let them.
For me, at 14th level, that's when things are going to start attacking you. Things are going to hunt you down. Things are going to start attacking you and hunting you down to take you out. And often by level 14, your party has a base of operations. So the go-to for this one to me would be whoever stays at your base. Because then they can reach out to you and tell you someone's attacking. And you're a 14th level fucking arcane caster.
Talk about Alpha 5 right now.
Yeah.
Zordon.
Yeah. You pop your ass back over there and you defend your base.
Yeah, look, that's a good idea as well. At this point, I'm getting to the end of things are attacking us. We're on the offensive. Like, your guys are movers and shakers.
Yeah,
by tier 4. So, but I like the point is there are multiple options here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's everything with the Great Old One.
Do you know what? I really like the Great Old One. It's one of those parts of D&D that I'm just scared I'll fuck it up. So I shy away from it. I tend to move towards things that I feel more comfortable playing long term or session in, session out. I'm gonna get right. Like it's something that I'm scared to do because I just think that I'll say something one day and a more experienced player than me is gonna be like, that's not actually how it goes with the cosmic beings and stuff. But that put me at ease a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, when you have a Great Old One, you're going to be dealing with mental fuckery.
Yeah.
Right? And if you want to go Great Old One, your DM knows that you're building a character that can combat a little bit of mental fuckery. So DMs, put in a little bit of mental fuckery. Because that is what your character is being built for.
Yes, and this is my problem with the psionic level shit. Yes, we're starting to get more and more subclasses that are able to handle psionics and psychic nonsense, and therefore we're getting a bunch more monsters, and there are more plot hooks that are required, so on and so forth. But 80% of the subclasses have no way to defend against it. So if I'm going to put in a bunch of psychic damage and stuff, I'm just destroying 4 out of my 5 players.
Right.
Yeah.
And the one player's like, I'm invincible. Which, sure, but how often am I going to do that to reward one player? Like 20% of the time, everyone else is just taking a shit ton of damage or psychic nonsense that they can't, stack up against. I like the Great Old One patron. I think it's fun. As long as everyone is kind of a little bit psychic and we're doing a mental kind of campaign, right? We're going to have some psionic shit coming in Tasha's.
Oh, yeah, 100% we are, yeah.
So, we have the ability to do some of that now across the board. But when you put this in with a hunter ranger and a zealot barbarian and a champion fighter, and then this guy, the moment I'm throwing psychic monsters and psychic damage, the other three just fucked.
Yeah.
Well, my argument against that, 100%, you're correct. But I like to design, small character arcs with my for my players when I DM. And if I have a Great Old One Warlock, my character arc for him is going to feature a lot of psychic. Throughout the general throughout the general campaign, it's not going to come up as often. But when he is the focus for this arc, in some way, shape, or form, like we're addressing his patron's needs or an aspect of his backstory is being highlighted right now, then it's going to be far more prevalent than normal. And I do that with all my players, because there's going to be moments where, yeah, he's a psychic-based warlock, but while we're doing, a gladiatorial arena, that's not going to really play that much into effect, because it's not like other than that one ability you get on a short rest, there's nothing really helping you out for a gladiatorial arena.
I agree with everything that you just said. I just don't think that most DMs think that way, right? So, especially when you're dealing with modules.
Yeah.
Right, and especially the old modules, where they assume that you are one of the player's handbook subclasses.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
So, and this is the only thing in the player's handbook really that does that.
Yeah.
So it's just, this is why the Warlock doesn't fit in 5th edition for me. I really do feel like there are 11 classes, and then the Warlock and Artificer.
Do you think there's one for new players and also for new DMs to have at their table?
Honestly, the Warlock is because of its way it does spells and stuff, if you are 100% brand new and everyone at the table is brand new, go for it. Because you're not going to be subverting new, like you're not going to try to be balancing this against a wizard.
It's the idea of nobody's going to fucking know anyway, right? Yeah.
But if this is like your second campaign, I might give the Warlock a little bit of breathing space at this point. Like, wait, make sure you get the spells down. As a DM, definitely make sure you get the ability of a Warlock down, so that the next campaign or later in this current campaign, when they want to multi-class into Warlock, you're ready, right? It takes, it is a little bit of an extra grace, extra research required class, whereas we have expectations, we have tropes, we have things we know about all of the other Player's Handbook classes that help us and aid us, right?
See, this is my problem with Warlocks. This is again where I'm like, go fuck yourself, Warlocks. You had to just be goddamn different, didn't you? It's not just you have 3 subclasses, you also have these 3 pacts as well. Nobody else has doubled the work right from the beginning. Additionally, on top of that, we've got full casters for Wizard, Sorcerer, Bard, Druid, and Cleric. And so magic kind of works the same way. They get different spell lists, they get different recharge times, or when do they get to swap spells, but it's largely the same. You got half-casters. You've got Artificers and Rangers and Paladins, and they all kind of work the same, and great, that's fun too.
And then you have the Warlock.
The 3/4 caster. But they don't call it that, and there's no guide for it, and go fuck yourself. Right? Like, figure it out is the idea. So for me, I always want, as a new DM or of the table of new players, understand magic first, and then we'll fuck with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm all for Warlocks, and I think that they're okay sometimes. I just don't like Warlocks. I just think that they're unnecessarily different.
Would you prefer the Artificer over the Warlock?
Yeah. I mean, the Artificer's a lot of fan service, in my opinion, but I like the Artificer. I do. I wouldn't mind the Warlock if the Warlock was a half-caster with a whole bunch of, like an Eldritch Knight kind of thing. You made a pact to get this kind of, right? But that's it. You have your patrons, and the patrons come with one of 2 different options for pacts. The way that we get, the way that I would design it, there would be 1 or 2 different ways.
Yeah.
Right? Because I would run it the way that you get fighting styles for fighters and things as well. I wouldn't be having this, well, you have to do this in order to get that. And then sometimes you can do this over here. But under these circumstances, you also get, fuck that noise, right? Just be a spellcaster at first.
Yeah.
Warlocks, again, they're great for multi-classing, but beyond level 1, I don't touch them.
Yeah, and I remember you reminded me getting into D&D for the first time, where I DM'd a one-shot for my friends years ago now, and Warlocks excited me the most. So I
Thematically, they're great.
But what happened was it complicated Magic for me as a whole because I went to the page with the sexy goth chick and the PHB and read Warlock.
Yeah.
And I did it backwards. So then I was comparing all of the other spellcasters to that. Well, I haven't
teach their own, Terry. Teach their own.
Whatever.
Dan is sitting there looking at the sexy paladin.
Yeah,
maybe it's the sorcerer.
The sorcerer is a bald dude.
Yeah. Dan.
Yeah, so you got something for bald dudes there, Terry? The rogue's a drow.
Dan's sexy paladin is a half orc.
Yeah. The paladin is a big angry half orc of Torm. By the way, is that paladin the god that he worships, based on that holy symbol?
I'm all out of faith.
Thank you. I was going to Natalie Imbruglia as well. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember the lyrics.
Anyway.
So what happened was, you just said, Adam, you should read learn magic from the others first and then go to Warlock. But I was super excited to be in a D&D.
Yeah.
Skip. Warlock looks cool. What the fuck is this?
So I'm not saying don't do it for your first. I'm just saying really, really understand this is not how magic works for anyone else.
Yeah.
You've got special rules, and for DMs that have never really DM'd a Warlock before, know the limitations, because there are lots of them.
Yes.
Warlocks are great to dip into and shitty at late levels. Which brings me to mine, which is the Archfey, because it's great, and then it isn't.
Which brings me to mine.
The Archfey is literally, you are a lord or lady of the Fey. You have some sort of legendary renown when you have a whole bunch of Fey secrets that you are kind of doling out. The examples they give are the Prince of Frost, the Queen of Air and Darkness, the ruler of the Gloaming Court. These are... We don't have really well-defined 5th edition Fey, and I'm really hoping that one of the future books is a Fey book.
I agree.
That's the next thing that I'm waiting for. Now that we've got Rime of the Frost Maiden, I want to see a little bit more planar stuff, and I'd like to see Fey. Because none of these words have any sort of context for the average 5th edition fan.
Like, where do you go from that line that you just read out, right? It's like, what do you do with it? Yeah.
So your expanded spell list, which you get at various levels. When you get spell level number 1, you get Fairy Fire and Sleep. Second level is Calm Emotions and Phantasmal Force. Third level is Blink and Plant Growth, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth level is Dominate Beast and Greater Invisibility. And fifth is Dominate Person and Seeming. Do you guys remember what Seeming is?
No, I was just going to ask.
You appear like something.
No. All of the people that you can see can appear as something. It is illusion magic. It's a 5th level spell. And it's not limited by the number of
creatures.
It's not limited by your radius. It's a number of people that you can see can appear, and you can change them like up to a foot in height. You could change them fat to skinny, make them look radically different. It is just illusion magic.
What level is it?
Fifth
level. So you're going to get this at what level? 9?
Yeah.
I think so. But that means that you can take an entire caravan of people and make them all look like dwarves. Or take an entire caravan of gnomes and make them all look like goblins.
Yeah, you're standing on top of the cart or carriage or whatever it is, and looking over, like getting everybody in line for like the school picture.
Yeah,
you know, like the one guy climbs up to the roof, and now everyone's looking up to the roof, giving thumbs up with their buddies. That's the one guy's like, and now you're all
naked.
Halflings. Oh yeah.
Right, and you can
naked halflings, Dan. That's what you went with?
Naked halflings.
So anyway,
doesn't sound great, does it? Going out to the people.
Well, we know that he has a dwarf fetish, so there we are. Fey Presence is the other thing you get at first level, which means that you essentially get to project a beguiling or fearsome presence of the Fey, which means that as an action you can cause each creature within a 10-foot cube originating from you to make a wisdom save against your spell save DC, and then the creatures that fail are all charmed or frightened by you, your choice.
That's cool. Until
the end of your next turn. So it's cool, but it's very limited. It's even more limited because you can only use this once per short or long rest.
Yeah. I wish it lasted longer.
It's weak. Mm-hmm. It's just like, first level is fine, right? Like that's good level magic. I'm not using this after about the end of tier 1.
Yeah, and that's what I've started to look towards now, is how often am I going to use this?
Yeah, and that's where I'm going to come to Misty Escape. Starting at 6th level, you can vanish in a puff of mist in response to harm. So, whenever you take damage, you can freaking turn invisible and teleport up to 60 feet as a reaction.
Whenever you take damage?
When you take damage. So, up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space, which is pretty standard. You remain invisible until the start of your next turn, or you cast a spell or make an attack. It's standard invisibility, right? And again, you can do it once until you finish a short or long rest. You get one get out of jail free card. But you still take the damage.
I don't hate it, to be honest. Okay, can you... If you're knocked to 0 hit, it's a reaction, you said,
It's a reaction.
So yeah, so you can't... If you're unconscious, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I have problems with the wording.
For example?
When you take the damage, you use your reaction to turn invisible and teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Yeah, sure. That all tracks. You remain invisible until the start of your next turn or until you attack or cast a spell. You just use your reaction. How are you attacking or casting spells?
At the start of your next turn.
You can use your reaction before your turn, though.
But you just use your reaction to use this ability. And you only ever get one.
Yeah.
It's purely an editing thing. That's
redundant.
It's redundant.
But you're saying... But you can use your reaction before your turn.
But you're using your reaction to do this.
To trigger this Misty Escape.
Now, I think the only way it could happen, maybe, is if you cause this to happen on your turn. By gaining an attack of opportunity. But no, that you can't get a reaction off a reaction.
There are ways that you can get other people to attack on your turn. So if I'm like a battle master, I can get people to do stuff.
Yeah.
If there are some wizard spells as well that let people do, like haste, for example.
But if you're getting someone else to attack on their on your turn, you're forcing them to use their reaction.
Not always. Not on haste.
Well, no. Well, haste doesn't give you a free reaction. Haste doesn't give you an attack on your turn.
No, but there are some things that... Yes, I know what you're saying. There are some spells, and I'm struggling now to come up with one off the top of my head. There are some instances with subclass features where you can get people to move or react or whatever it is to have to get an attack in. I'm trying to think. There's one of the... We talked about it in the second Patrons episode, I think when it's Yinagu, where if you drop someone, then you get to run forward and bite, or someone dies within a certain radius.
Oh, a cult boon?
Yeah, right. So there are weird mechanics that I think there's probably 2 or 3 of them that pop up at this point where that's going to be an issue. But for the most part, you're right. This is never going to come up.
No.
This is not a big factor here.
I mean, it's a great ability. Don't get me wrong.
Is it? It's a great ability if you could do it times your charisma modifier.
Per long rest?
Per long rest instead of once per short rest.
Yeah, that just feels...
I would do that and change it to 30 feet. It's Misty Escape, make it Misty Step. Same distance.
This is basically an ejector seat, isn't it? You're just like, fuck this, I'm out. Boom.
Yeah.
So the once, in a way, seems fair to me, especially because you're invisible, because basically you have an entire round where the attention is diverted away from you, and you can move basically to a full point of movement and dash away from the trouble.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
No, I agree with you. It's a bit of bubble.
Beguiling Defenses is your 10th level ability here. And that is how you can turn mind-affecting magic of your enemies against them. Which means you're immune to being charmed. And when another creature attempts to charm you, you can use your reaction to attempt to turn the charm back on the creature. So it's got to make a wisdom save against your spell save DC, or be charmed by you for 1 minute, or until it takes damage. So if someone tries to charm you, you can counter-charm them, or you have a chance to do it.
Yeah.
There is no limitation on how often you can do this, which is the saving grace. How many times are you guys getting charmed at 10th level?
Well, that was what I was going to bring up. The thing with when we talk about looking ahead, how often am I going to use this? Whenever I see something that's got to do with a charmed condition, I can't get excited by it because I know we've beaten this horse to death, but it's like, you're right. How many times are you getting charmed? How many times are the enemies getting charmed? Like, it's null and void at this point. So I can't get excited about it because I can't even imagine a situation where I'm going to be using it often.
Yep. So the last one is Dark Delirium. Starting at 14th level, you can plunge a creature into an illusory realm. Except you can't. You're not plunging anyone into it. You're just making them hallucinate. So you choose any creature you can see within 60 feet. and it's got to make a wisdom save. And on a failing save, it is charmed or frightened by you, your choice, for 1 minute. But it acts like a concentration spell, so you do have to maintain concentration. If the creature takes damage, then the effect ends as well. Until the illusion ends, the creature thinks it's lost in a misty realm. Again, you didn't plunge it into a realm. It just thinks it's lost into a realm. Yeah. It can only see itself, you, and this illusion. Nothing else can be seen or heard, so everyone can kind of get by him. This is great for getting past a guard that you don't want to fight.
Yeah, you've become Mysterio.
But yeah, everybody else is going to run forward and then hit them, and then this is just over. And you can do it once per short or long rest.
Archfey's weak.
Archfey is weak, especially because one of the things that you can lean on are ancient hags. And this is all you're going to get from an ancient hag?
From Queen Titania of the Seelie Court. This is all you're going to get?
Yeah, and so it's like they heard the word charm because of Fey, and that's as far as they get. And everything Fey is like that in 5th edition.
Yeah.
Right? Everything is charm this, frighten that, go to sleep, and that's it. They're so worried about these low-level conditions that, frankly, you're all saving against anyway because every group has a paladin.
But this is a perfect opportunity where they could have written into a subclass some of the more interesting aspects about the Fey. Like, Adam, I'm reminded of the time we were in a marketplace in the Feywild, and you're like, sure, the cost is that you remove everything liquid from your person.
Yeah.
That type of thing. Like, abilities like that. You remove all of their currency, or whatever kind of... things that are more Fey-like and interesting. And
I wanted to see a little bit of hovering and flying with this. I wanted to see a little bit of... Until the end of your turn, you can dash. Just you get super speed for whatever reason, right? You harness a quickling, you harness a satyr, you harness whatever it is. Like, there should have been more to this. I really like Archfey thematically, mechanically. They are, in my opinion, the weakest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of all 6 that have been released so far.
I would agree. And it's disappointing because, it's... The Fae is something that we want to explore so much more in 5th edition, and I think there's an interest there, and it seems to be for the newer. I forget that my role I gave myself was to be the voice for the newer players. Is that it's the logical next step once you've been to the Prime Material plane and you've kind of done a campaign there. You're either leaning towards the Shadowfell or the Feywild, and so we want content for that.
Yeah. Absolutely, we do, and
we have Barovia for Shadowfell, so
and we've got enough shit in Theros to be able to just port some of these creatures over. We have satyrs, we have centaurs, we've got all of the shit. We should be getting this kind of thing. The other thing that I'm a little choked about in 5th edition is, and this is just a design complaint in general about Fae, or that Fae always leads me back to anyway, is that. You remember the monstrous level, the level adjustments that you would have to do in 3.5, Dan?
Yeah.
Where if you wanted to be, let's say, a Minotaur, then you just start at level 3 with your level 1 stuff. So you'll only ever get to go up to level 18.
Yeah, I remember
because you're just fucking beefy, right? You've got all these other things you can do. We're never going to get a pixie race for this because flying, tiny size, has, magic powder and shit like that. We're not... I want to see that shit. We're never going to get it. Right?
Yeah.
So, and it's too bad. But, again, I think Faye got shafted in this. I love the idea of it. If you want to play an Archfey, I would just... Dan, you played a great old one with Hags as your... Coven of Hags as your...
Yeah.
And I would honestly... I would just reflavor it into the great old one. And instead of the psychic damage, I would... I don't know, roll a chromatic orb. Right? Just figure I don't take, thunder damage or bludgeoning damage or fire damage, whatever it is.
That could be a fun little mark for you. Every day you wake up and you roll a d6 for what type of damage you're resistant to today.
Right. And so it should be little
just
things.
Just for that chaotic aspect.
Yeah, that's
a little bit of wild magic would have fit.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form here.
I really wanted the Archfey to have counterspell.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Needs to be a thing they do.
It fits.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Okay, that brings it to me. I have the Fiend. Dan has his head in his hands. When you take the Fiend subclass, you've made a pact with a Fiend from the lower planes of existence. Okay, so typically their aims are going to be evil, even if you strive against those aims. Such beings are going to desire corruption and destruction of all things, and that will ultimately may include you. typically in my mind, I lean straight towards devils, and I think that in my mind, it's easier to work around because of the precision that comes with devils and the contracts and the fine print, as opposed to demons that are a lot more chaotic. And Yugoloths, just in general, I don't understand the lore as much, so...
Well, it's not really clear in 5th edition either.
Right.
I did a Fiends episode on Yugoloths. People can go check that out. Good luck. It's
25F or something
Yugoloths?
like that.
No, it isn't. It's 25C.
Okay.
You're close. But anyway, no, the thing is that you'll notice that it only mentions demon lords. Mm-hmm. And our second Halloween episode is all about demon lords, but it doesn't touch other demons. I mean, it talks about devils for sure.
Right.
And Yugoloths. But your average demon is just too chaotic.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah.
And they say as much in Mordenkainen's as well when they go through kind of what you do if you're in a cult.
I don't see you having a Garistro patron.
There are some rules about, like, they kind of lay out what to do if it's a Baelor or a Marilith or some of these other big ones. But no, for the most part, you're right. Some of these smaller, Rock is not a patron, right?
No. You're that one asshole with a Lemur patron.
I'm just sad. Wait up.
Yes, but
Carry me. I'll give you power, I guess.
But you may have, and these podcasts are one of my favorite parts of my week, but I always seem to have the ones with the most difficult friggin' names to say. So I'm going to try in the spirit of doing this.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So you can forge a pact with demon lords with names that include Demogorgon, we know.
Yeah.
Not Demogorgon, I've learned.
Demogorgon.
Demogorgon.
That's how it was originally said before Stranger Things came out.
Demogorgon.
I've always said Demogorgon.
Orcus.
And you're wrong. Yeah, Orcus is right. Yep. Good luck on that.
Not the Demon Prince of Orcs.
No.
Fraser Blue.
Yep.
Yeah, not bad.
I believe it's Fraser Blue.
The French Demon Prince.
Oh, sorry. That was the French one, yeah. Baphomet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then archdevils such as Asmodeus.
Yes.
Asmodeus.
No. Asmodeus, you.
Asmodeus.
Yeah.
Dispater.
Dispater.
Oh, God. I was going to say Dispater, and I thought,
Dispeter.
no way.
No, he's not that Peter. He's Dispeter.
No, Dispater.
Oh.
Because he's the master Dispater.
Mephistopheles.
Yep.
Marilyn Manson fan over here. So. And Belial.
Yes.
Nailed it. Okay, well, let's talk about the expanded spell list.
Oh, okay.
You go ahead.
I just wanted to say one thing from like a Bible and occult lore nerd and something like the real world stuff. The fact that Mephistopheles, Asmodeus, and Baphomet, which are all alternative names for Satan, are different entities, and one of them's a fucking demon lord. Like, it just makes me tweak every single time. So, like, Mephistopheles, I go, yes, the devil.
Are they all alternative names for Satan?
Yeah.
Is it, this is just for my own interest, it comes up at different times, like on the timeline
Yes,
in the Bible?
pretty much, yeah. There's also...
Old Testament to New Testament matters.
Old Testament to New Testament matters, location matters. The word Satan doesn't really signify a person, a specific entity.
Right.
The word Satan is just the word for enemy, for antagonist.
Right.
What's the word? There's one word that's not even said in the Bible. It's said in Paradise Lost instead, and people say, and it's Satan or Lucifer or like
Morningstar,
devil or Morningstar. Like there's one title or honorific or proper name. Like, whatever it is, that's just never said in the Bible.
Beast
that
is
we
never
just
said?
assume.
Oh, the beast is said.
It is said?
Yeah, we just assume that this is the way that it is.
The beast is the closest thing you have.
Right.
Right? So,
yeah.
I don't know about the...
I'm gonna look it up.
There are so many, right? Little alternative names for Satan. So it's the fact that D&D as a thing just like throws Baphomet in as a demon prince and Mephistopheles is not Asmodeus, is not like it's just
Yeah. I'm with you. Expanded spell list. First level, we got Burning Hands and Command.
oh yeah.
You're gonna look, guys at home. You're gonna spot a theme with this expanded spell list, okay? But it does fit. Blindness, Deafness, and Scorching Ray for second level. Third level, Fireball, Stinking Cloud. Fourth, Fire Shield, Wall of Fire. Fifth, Flame Strike, and Hallow. Hallow, I don't remember.
Hallow is basically take this area and make it evil.
You can either bless it, you can consecrate or desecrate an area. So the idea is that you would take a church and desecrate the entire surrounding area.
Or take a church and hallow or consecrate the entire area.
Okay.
So it's one of those things like you don't wear shoes on hallowed ground.
Right.
That's the concept.
I'm with you. Dan, sometimes I'm glad you're here. Okay. Okay, well, let's look at some abilities. So Dark One's Blessing. So starting at first level, when you reduce a hostile creature to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points equal to your charisma modifier plus your warlock level, obviously minimum of 1.
Ridiculously powerful. I love it.
So you think we've gone the other way?
I think we've gone the other way. Nowhere in Archfey is there something with this level of power.
Nowhere in Archfey is there anything that mirrors anything.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Others.
Yeah,
Archfey is a bad...
This is one that is going to keep you going all the time.
Yeah, if you're working with like mobs or something, if you're fighting a mob, just keep plowing your way through. You're just stacking up temporary hit points.
Yeah, I mean, you kill a thing for 2 hit points, but you're level 20, so you get 25 temporary hit points.
Yeah.
And that number just keeps on bouncing back up to the biggest total number. So, you kill something with 25, you take 13 damage. You kill something with 25, you get back, right? So, that's always going to bounce up.
Yeah, if you play that strategically,
it's powerful.
I guess I should say tactically in the short term. Yeah, it's very powerful. What about this one? Dark One's Own Luck. Starting at 6th level, you can call on your patron to alter fate in your favor. When you make an ability check or saving throw, you can use this feature to add a d10 to your roll. You can do so after seeing the initial roll, but before any of the roll's effects occur. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or a long rest.
Yeah. I have no issue with this at all.
Yeah, it's...
At 6th level, you should be getting stuff like this.
Yeah.
Right? That's about the power level that you want to be seeing.
This, honestly, the Fiend feels like the one that they built the Warlock class around, and then went, well, shit, we need other ones.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's definitely the way I viewed it as well, 100%. And then we got creative with, Archfey and the Great Old One stuff, which does track still, but this definitely seemed to be what was in mind at first. Okay, Fiendish Resilience. So starting at 10th level, you can choose one damage type when you finish a short or a long rest. You gain resistance to that damage type until you choose a different one with this feature. Damage from magical weapons or silver weapons ignores this resistance.
Are there any Fiends that are affected by silver?
Not traditionally. Like, there are a handful of times where it comes up in the lore, but I don't remember seeing that in any of the stat blocks. There just needs to be more emphasis put on silvered weapons.
I completely agree.
Definitely. More rules on silvered weapons, I think. It's just a bit loose, silvered weapons.
That little, addition makes me go, would you make a werewolf patron? Just like some super primal werewolf creature. Yeah. And make it the Fiend.
I think I'm more.
I want to see what's coming out in Tash's. I mean, I think by the time that this episode airs, Tash's is brand new and it's come out.
Yeah.
But I understand that we're getting Genie and something from the Great Below. So it's like Kraken or Leviathan or something watery.
It's got to be Kraken.
So no, it's called like What Lurks Below.
Oh,
or
then
whatever.
you can choose.
So,
okay.
And so you choose one of those things, and then of course Genie. So you get all your Jinn, right? All your genies that are laid out. Yeah, all that shit. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, yeah, I want to see your, probably not a werewolf patron, but why don't we have vampire?
Vampire makes more sense to me. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think there needs, I think it's a lot to ask for an overhaul on lycanthropes and stuff, but I need...
No, it isn't. I'm asking for it. Please.
Yeah,
Wizards, call me.
It is. It's a weak spot. It is a weak spot in the edition.
It is, because there's so much you can explore with lycanthropes, and the gap between vampires and werewolves just seems too much. I think there needs to be some continuity there. There needs to be more. There's so much emphasis on vampires, but not on. And I know things like were-ravens are just kind of fun additions, but I mean, hey, go down the avenue and explore it, right? Because we want it. We're asking for it. Look, I don't mind Fiendish Resilience. I think it's on par. It does what we need it to do. We're at 10th level now, and I haven't been too excited so far, is the problem.
I dislike that you get to choose your resistance.
Because,
that should have been the Archfey thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is more fate.
This one should just be resistance to fire.
Maybe
Maybe necrotic?
Maybe lightning?
Necrotic should be Undying. And each one of them, Slashing should be Hexblade. Celestial should be Radiant.
Yeah.
Great Old One should be Psychic. And then it should be for the Archfey. I don't know. Is it...
Pick one.
Well, it's...
Roll a dice.
Is it your Prince of Frost? Then it's Cold. Is it the Queen of Air and Darkness? I don't know. Force? Like, you pick it from Force, there, right? So...
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Hurl through Hell. So starting at 14th level, when you hit a creature with an attack, you can use this feature to instantly transport the target through the lower planes. The creature disappears and hurtles through a nightmare landscape. I feel like we've escalated very quickly.
Yes.
A lot in one jump.
Or de-escalated.
Yeah. At the end of your next turn, the target returns to the space it previously occupied or the nearest unoccupied space. If the target is not a fiend, it takes 10d10 psychic damage as it reels from its horrific experience. Once you use this feature, can't use it again until you finish a long or short rest.
Okay, so if we compare this with the 14th level ability of the Archfey, which is the Dark Delirium, this one, you literally punch someone through hell.
Yeah, whereas mine is like,
you're in a cloud.
Yeah, you have fogs. Fogs and shit.
Yeah, they hurl through hell, they come back and it fucking hurts their brain because of the trauma that they
and like 10d10.
That's
100 potential damage?
It's no joke, right? Yeah, it's no joke. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And at level 14, you gain the ability to, let's just take away the damage, take away the fact that they're going to pop back or any of that. You get the ability to teleport somebody to the lower planes.
Yeah.
By poking them real hard.
Do you know what it kind of reminds me of? Because it's when you hit a creature with an attack. Final Fantasy VIII, when you get like a critical hit with the gun blades, and they were just like weird fucked up abilities where you could literally just punch them through hell and fuck them up. Yeah.
This feels like you're playing one of the newer Street Fighters or one of those level like fighting games, and you just punch the dude and they fly through 18 things first.
Hadoukened him,
yeah, and like go all the way around the world and then land at your feet and stand up and lose like 10% of their hit points.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, no. But
it's when Scorpion uppercuts you and you end up falling through the hell dimension.
Yeah.
And you finish, round.
I like it. This is incredibly powerful.
But the thing is, up until this point, like, it went for me where I went, okay, Dark One's Blessing, I'm not too excited about that. Yeah, okay, whatever. The next one, I was like, And then Fiendish Resilience, I was like, it fits. It's just not exciting. Or rather, it fits another patron, but not this one. And it's not that exciting. And then Hurl Through Hell, I was like, well, that escalated a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, everything here is powerful, but they're just escalating the power. They're starting from such a great baseline of Dark One's Blessing.
Yeah.
And they're going up. They miss the point with Fiendish Resilience.
Yeah.
It does not fit. There are things that no fiends are resilient to.
Yeah.
So why do you get the ability to choose to be?
It doesn't make sense. And really, Hurl Through Hell, it's like you're picking this patron based on that ability, and so you're picking it based on that in 18 months' time you may get to use Hurl Through Hell providing your character doesn't die.
Yeah.
That's it, right? So, I think thematically you can make a great character with Fiends, and, I like the creative things that we do here. It's just Archfey and Fiend both seem to let me down. Great Old One I was okay with, from what I remember, from what you said only 30 minutes ago. No, I think I'm just holding on for that Hurl Through Hell right at the end. Like, I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on those ones.
This is mechanically the best of the three.
Yeah.
Of the 6, give or take Hexblade, depending on what you're looking for. There's so much that's doing fire damage, especially in higher levels. We said earlier, we were talking about werewolves, and I said, why not vampires? Vampires could technically fit in Undying. Mm-hmm. Technically. Yeah. It's all about liches and, you've surpassed death, and so, all right, fine, I'll give you that one. Guys, do you know the one that we're missing that's really fucking on the nose that we haven't talked about?
Beholder?
No, I'm going to say
that's
great old
one.
Yeah. Dragons?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Right? Like, can I just... They're magical beings of intense power and should be spellcasters. And
you could literally have an imp standing next to you and a dragon over here. Can you give me No, sorry. Can you? Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I got loads.
You want send someone through hell? Yeah. Yes, just sign here on the dotted line. Meanwhile, the dragon is looking at you like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and you're going, nothing with fire, Big Red, nothing at all.
You'd have thought that with the Tyranny of Dragons story arc, we would have gotten something.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's the next thing I want to see.
I think they are addressing this concern because we have recently seen several subclasses that came out that are a dragon monk and a dragon ranger. Right?
I refuse to discuss.
I know you refuse
Arcana.
to discuss Unearthed Arcana, but it shows a trend of what they're working on. And if they go down that path and we get a dragon patron, I'm happy with that. That fits. Yes,
Sure.
please.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll see what makes it through to the next Someone Something of Everything book after
Yeah.
Dashes.
Yeah.
It'll be Bigby's Hand of Everything. Gross.
Just a handful of everything.
Just gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would that be Bigby's Cup of Everything?
Okay.
No?
Okay, well,
Caress.
Yeah.
before we wrap up, I just want to remind everyone that you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and r/itsamimic on Read It. You can always reach out to us through our email at info@itsamimic.com because we love hearing from you guys. And any questions that you send us will get added to the list for our upcoming mailbag episodes.
Yay!
Yay! Adam twitches every single time you and me do not stick to the script.
I die a little on the inside.
Yeah, oh, you die a little bit on the outside too. Like necrotic chunks start falling off.
Yeah.
It's an analytical mind, Adam. It's okay. He probably doesn't even enjoy being this way. It's fine.
I don't sleep much. Anyway, what are we doing now?
We're
Where are
doing
we to?
creative builds. Everybody has
Creative
one new
builds.
character build featuring the subclass that we've covered. We're going to roll and then we'll go in turn. They know how it goes. What does mine say? 10?
You got a 10, I got a 9.
I've got a 3.
Oh, I'm going to go first. Okay, so one new character build featuring the subclass that we covered. Mine was, to remind you, Fiends. Do you know what I want? And I talked to you guys privately off air about this. I want to see the classic hag-like witch, but I'm not thinking, Archfey or even reskinning a Grey Old One for this. I'm thinking...
Well, you get night hags are fiends.
Okay, that fits perfectly. No, but the character, the character is that hag-like witch has done some sort of ritual. Little devil showed up, or demon. Hello, you can have everything you ever dreamed of. Because what are the things that we always laugh about with the D&D that I like? I like everything to be beautiful. I like all of the superficial shit. I'm sorry. Here's my 6'2" handsome champion fighter.
Well, just
knight
he's carrying a cat of nine tails for some reason.
So for me, this character was a challenge because it's I'm removing myself from those tropes by having that hag-like character, and I kind of wanted it to be not that they're standing out for being like beautiful or amazing, but their challenge is going to be that they're standing out because they're this old witch type character, and so they may not be accepted in society. But that still, even if they have a warped, twisted idea on what they think is correct, they can still be of use to the party. And I like the idea that this witch may see beauty and wonder in the world as like a consumable item.
Yeah.
Okay. If I can take your beauty from you or do whatever witches, those old witch tropes can do, that means it's my right to do it. I can do that to you.
Might is right.
Yes, exactly. And I have that written right here is might is right. I like that idea. But I think these people can still be of use to the party. And it doesn't mean that they're going to go around causing absolute chaos. It's just the same as we see with the different races. They have a different idea of what's correct and what's not. And even though we see all these classic tropes like knights and cavaliers and elven ranges and stuff like that, when was the last time you played a game when you had that classic Wicked Witch of the West style PC?
Well, It was a prestige class in 3.5.
Really?
It was definitely an option in 4th edition. It's a major factor in Pathfinder. It's around. It's just not in 5th edition.
It's not in 5th. I've never seen it, right? That's why I brought it up.
They're just assuming that you're going to do it as a warlock, I guess.
And you would go Pact of the...
Or a wizard.
You'd go Pact of the Chain and have a black cat familiar.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the route you
Well,
go.
Pact of the Tome makes a fuck ton of sense, too.
True. Pact of the Cauldron would be cool. I want to build that now.
I'm set. This is going to be my next character. Maybe I'll be able to put it in as an NPC because I think I would really love this twisted
Terry's
character.
favorite NPC of all time in 5th ed, like true lore, is going to be Tasha. When the new book comes
I already
out,
know.
yeah, it's the Terry thing. He knows.
Yeah. As a quick little aside, I saw a thing today about some witches on Tinder. And they're like, aren't you like flipping through and like they're adding profile pictures and it's like they're using their hot like transmogrified versions. One of the other witches comes up and goes, aren't you worried that, you know, when you actually meet them face to face that, you know, you're going to look different from your pictures? And the witch is like, no, I've got this potion of youthfulness. It'll be fine. I'll just drink this potion beforehand. They'll never know the difference. And the other witch goes, but don't you think it's a little problematic that the main ingredient in a potion of youthfulness is children blood? And the witch goes, yeah, but they got a lot of blood. What are they doing with it all anyways? They could just help me out a little bit. And that's the entire video.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So if they're like, if they can find it, maybe even they can find a way to do it painlessly, like just like a very little pain, like a little needle or something.
Pain is universal. Why bother?
Sure. Fine. Okay.
I'm a witch right now. I'm coming from the witch.
I go like modernizing vampire story level thing and being like, oh, they work at the blood bank. Okay, well, your witch that is needing to farm blood from people is vaccinating
but
children.
This witch's thing would be, they're like, well, it doesn't kill them. It doesn't even hurt them. It's very little. What's the problem? You know? And that type of mentality.
I am very much reminded of the episode titled Witches of What We Do in the Shadows in season 2, where they are harvesting vampire semen.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
So, well, Terry, it is 100% your sense of humor.
I've got like a lot of like. Where does this rank on all of the 23 things?
Their top 3.
Yeah, it's going to be top 3.
Up there, top 3.
Okay.
In terms of things that you will legitimately
that's
enjoy.
the vampire one, whereas there's like they hit the different vampire tropes that you've seen. The characters are all different. I've seen like the first episode, like the pilot or whatever it was. Like, yeah, I've seen it.
But
it's who's in it? Jermaine, what's his face?
That's in
Matthew
the
Berry is in it. Is in the TV show.
There was a movie made by Taika Waititi first. And
that's what I saw.
And then the TV show got spawned off by FX, and it stars Matt Berry. And
okay.
Yeah.
Who's Matt Berry?
He was the
boss from IT Crowd.
The second boss from IT Crowd.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah,
that guy's so funny.
Yeah. So anyway, you should check it out. It's absolutely your perspective on the world.
Awesome. Look, that's my character. Did you guys think I did well in trying to escape my tropes?
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks,
I think
Dan.
I think you did.
You know what? I'm just looking for every now and again in my life. It's just praise. It's just positive.
You did good. You did really well.
Because I have these struggles, right? I struggle with compassion. You know.
You don't say.
Adam, who's next?
Me.
Dan.
So
Dan is very much Nandor. And Terry is going to be...
fuck off, I'm Nandor.
You are 100% Nandor. I'm very much...
Are you talking about the show now?
Yeah. And Terry is Natasha.
Yeah.
But Brad is going to be Guillermo. Yeah, I'm calling it now.
Dan is pulling a face.
He's the male slave.
Dan is pulling a face that looks like he's just licked piss off a thistle.
Now I'm imagining licking piss off a thistle.
Or you could be licking this off a pistol. Anyway, you're up next, Dan.
Yuck.
Well,
anyways,
wipe your mouth a little.
I literally did it fucking subconsciously. God damn it.
Oh, you just took psychic damage.
So I came at this from... Good choice of words, Dan. I came at this from a couple different angles, and...
from behind, from on top.
One was as a DM, one was as a player. Because the first character I built, I was like, this fits Great Old One Patron perfectly, but I don't actually like playing in evil campaigns.
Right.
Unless they're short, little 3 to 10 session things. I don't want to do like a long-term multi-year campaign in playing the evil guys. I don't want to do that.
It gets to the point where it's like a little bit too far. It's like, okay, we've gone past the novelty of doing it. Now I don't want to know your weird, fucked up fantasies.
Yeah, right. So, I honestly, a Duragar, Warlock, Pact of the Chain, Great Old One Patron, as a slaver.
Okay, I get Pact of the Chain because of the name, but what's his familiar?
His familiar?
Drow.
Well, not...
Just for Neblin on the end of the chain.
Yeah, I mean, it works.
No, it absolutely doesn't, Dan. It has to be a familiar.
I hadn't thought of exactly what the familiar is. My guess is it would be something that would aid a cranium rat. Sounds
about right, yeah.
Sounds about right.
I mean, shit, it could just be a rat. I mean, there's celestial beings anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Right.
It doesn't really matter what form they take.
But
I like them being a Mike in it, just because at the end of his chain is his little mushroom friend.
Oh, God.
Anyways, the whole point of this character
And then
would
it's
be...
this great mold one.
The great mold one.
Ah!
Yeah. Oh, God, Adam, he's
You're
a fun
trying to dismantle me here. You're succeeding in dismantling me.
Ah, he's a fun guy.
Yay! But
guy.
like the entire point of
the
this
people at home know
character
that I just said that 10 seconds ago.
We
It was
don't
Coco.
listen to you.
the point of this guy would have been to like just constantly his whole pact get as many souls to this great old one as possible.
Portobello.
Right? Like just sacrifice.
Do great old ones give a fuck about souls?
I would say this one does, or at least the concept of death. There needs to be that anguish. There needs to be that that bridging to the spirit realm that will help bring it in. And like every innocent, every I don't know, virgin sacrificed to this great old one brings that guy a little bit closer.
All that feels fiendish to me, right? Like,
I mean, great old ones can bridge that gap. They really can,
they
especially
could.
when you go Lovecraftian with them, right? Like they get that. They get that way.
right, but they also want things and beings to pray to them, right?
They want cults.
They want cults. They really do. They want destruction and atrophy and entropy.
Yes,
and
but so does Baphomet. Baphomet wants destruction, entropy, atrophy. He wants people to worship him. He wants people. He's about the savagery.
the only like major fiend that actually wants there to be nothingness as far as the eye can see is Orcus, right?
Yeah.
Orcus almost feels like a great old one because he's big picture. He wants the cosmos to be silent. Because there's nothing left alive. When he's the last one, he will then kill himself. Right? That's what Orcus wants. He wants there to be nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what Cthulhu level of Great Old One feels like to me is well, this is our argument that we have about the Shadowfell every fucking time, Dan.
Yeah.
Like, is it negative emotions like crying and sadness, or is it just an empty, hollow depression
Yeah.
with zero emotion whatsoever, right? And it could be either, right? And I guess that's what we're saying with Great Old One. You could go either way with that.
As for an actual player character, a Kalishtar fits. It really does. Playing a Kalishtar, which are that sub-psionic
They already
class.
They come with a built-in patron with a quarry, right?
Yeah.
Which are the dream creatures that literally inhabit their goddamn fucking brains and imbue them and possess them with their powers. And like, there it is. And when an Inspired dies in Eberron, so not a Kalishtar one, an Inspired dies, who is just a human who opens their mind up and says, hey, yeah, come into me, please. Then the quarry go in, and then when that person dies, the quarry comes out and is a physical being, and they're horrifying. And they're big, scary-ass, world-ending monsters, right? So,
yeah.
So a Kalishtar Warlock of the Great Old One it fits. It has that nice, interesting twist to it, and having someone who is smart enough to understand that they're being manipulated, but require that manipulation for whatever power that they're going to get, playing that seems very intriguing to me. So, yeah, that's me. I don't even have a pact for that. I would say maybe Pact of the Tome.
yeah, I don't know, man. I'm looking at the Archfey and I go, I can't build anything around this. I'm glad you came up with two because there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sitting going, okay, I'm going to take my first level dip in. I'm going to get Fairy Fire Sleep. I'm going to get Hex, right? Because that's that thing you get a first level when you're a Warlock. You multi-class in. And then you get that, like, 10-foot cube Charm or Frighten for one round once along. Like this.
Be a Glamour Bard.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Glamour Bard.
You're going to get further in other ways. I mean,
It's kind of... It's not as bad, but it's getting close to Purple Dragon Knight.
yeah, I find this to be useless. I cannot think of a way to do this. Thematically, I love it. From the lore standpoint, it is my favorite of the three of them because I don't see enough of it. And Fae can be weird, and they're not all just fairies looking over here and hey, we're going to do sparkle things, which is what most people think, right? But you can have the be Darklings and Quicklings and Fomorians and like there's all sorts of crazy Fae out there. There's not just the Seelie Court, there's the Unseelie Court where everything's evil and dark.
If you want a modern take on classic actual fairy lore, watch Carnival Row.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that I really, really, really like about the Fae that we're just not getting in D&D. It's like Fifth Ed is not... It's not the game you play when you want to play Fae.
Yeah.
You've got to do a lot of homebrew. You've got to do a lot of your own research in the background. It's just not well supported. And the Archfey Warlock patron falls flat for me.
Yeah, it's like, and I always say, you know, I like a roleplay heavy game, and it's not necessarily that I'm trying to be the most efficient or effective, like min-maxy wise or whatever, with the numbers on the character sheet, but you still want something. Yep. You know, I remember the early days of playing my champion fighter where I was like, yes, I finally got 2 attacks, and then the ranger next to me was going, I got that as well. I'm like, fuck, that's my thing. That's what this would do for me, is it's like, it feels like everybody's already past that level anyway by the time you get stuff. So it's just...
I really want... See, I could make a strong argument for you going with the champion fighter who takes 1 level in, or maybe even 6 levels. You go up to 14th level fighter, right? But you get to 6 levels, so you get that Misty step kind of feel to it as well. So there's a little bit of just mystical fairy bullshit to you. You've got a couple of spells. It's not great, but hey, you got your Eldritch Blast, and so that's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
But can't I just get that without the Eldritch Blast out of Eldritch Knight? Can't I get that feeling from that anyway? Yeah. Right? Like, okay, so what about Monk doesn't make sense, Barbarian doesn't make sense. I'm trying to think of the martial classes. A Ranger, thematically?
Barbarian you can make work just because Warlocks are powerful with their invocations.
Right, you can't cast spells when you're in a rage, so you're done.
Yeah, you're going left or right with that one, aren't you?
Yeah, and so you're splitting it down the middle. You're not going to get the synergy you're looking for. Ranger, Druid makes a little bit of sense, I guess, thematically, but Druid's already a better spellcaster than a Warlock, and I don't need Hex to do my crazy Circle of Spores shit.
And really, you could just take, what is it, Magical Knack or Magical Lineage or whatever
Magic Initiate?
Magic Initiate, that feat.
Yeah, and so, like, there are other options to get what I want out of this.
Yeah.
And I'm just... Go pick up Horizon Walker, and you're going to get all your teleporty, mystical, turn invisible, and poof over there level shit, right?
Yeah.
Gloomstalker, if you want to go the Seelie Court side. That shit exists. Why are you doing this? And that's where I land on the Archfey, which is too bad because they're, I think, thematically my favorite. From a lore standpoint, I like them better than just another devil.
Yeah, we need more Fae. We need more.
Yeah.
We need a deeper dive into Fae. We've got what we need for Shadowfell. Yeah, there's a couple of things we want to add on there, but there's almost zero for this. You know, and what little content we have, everybody here is agreed in that. Well, that's just not enough.
I need to see more about the Feywild. I need to see more about the ethereal plane, which is undersupported. Our weird middle level of planes, your Gehenna, your Pandemonium. They're not getting what I want, right? We just need a book about the planes. There we are. Hey, I said it.
Yeah.
Right. So
almost seems obvious when you say it like that, right? Yeah.
So, and it's about that time in the edition that one should be coming.
I want to agree with you, and to some extent I do. We need a book about the planes, and we do actually need one that goes into a deep dive of each plane and each major player that is in the planes and blah. Given the same Eberron treatment, just it's the rest of the cosmos.
Sure.
Before we get that, we need more information about the Forgotten Realms.
You're right. We do. As a matter of fact,
Sword Coast Adventures Guide is hot shit. And
I am going to defend Sword Coast Adventures Guide to say that what is there is fine. There's just not enough of it.
There's not enough.
Yeah.
And it's way too general.
It's what, like a 50-page pamphlet? Like it's barely
It's not a big book, is it?
No.
Yeah.
It's tiny. And they've got so much other shit in there that the lore section is just like 4 paragraphs on Waterdeep. We have 2 entire books about Waterdeep.
Yeah. Hey, we need to know more about Waterdeep. Yeah.
Basically, the way that they have built Dungeons & Dragons 5e up into the recording of this podcast is everything from Icewind Dale to Baldur's Gate has a little bit of, and on that western coast has a little bit of flavor, and then down somewhat to the south you have Chult, but everything east of that you've got nothing. What about Fae?
What about Karator? Right? Like there's a lot of fun shit that's in Faerun that we're not touching. And I don't even like the Forgotten Realms.
I know Dan does.
I do, yeah.
I prefer Greyhawk or Eberron as my campaign setting, but there needs to be more. If we're going to make this the primary setting,
it needs to have a treatment. Like, we have more about Eberron than we do have about the Forgotten Realms. Buy a bucket, because there's 2 books that go deep into it. So
there's a book and a half.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But no, there's and so this is my problem with the Feywild, right? Is it's undersupported. The Archfeys are undersupported. We have lists of gods with domains, but we don't have anything that resembles that. We don't know what the alignments are for the Archfey, right? And that's fucking lacking.
So this is the same thing, the same kind of fear that I had with the Grey Old One that I'm now more comfortable with just from experience and learning more from doing the podcast with you guys. But for Archfey, I'm not going down that route because I'm going to fuck it up. I'm going to get it wrong. There's going to be a more experienced player around the table that's going to go, actually, it's nothing like that. It's just you don't know because it's all in earlier editions.
Yeah.
So, it's, considering the 5th edition was the big edition that brought all the new players in, combining it with the internet and podcasts and all that sort of stuff, nobody's going to go down that route because it's under-supported and nobody wants to look stupid, essentially, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And if I can be totally honest, you can reskin, you can reflavor, you can rebuild. It can be done, but work with your DM to do it.
Yeah.
Because what we have in the player's handbook, what we have as far as Xanathars and everything else, we don't have the support. Not for an Archfey patron. And there's a lot of fun stuff in there. Like, there's a lot of potential and possibility, and we're just not hitting that. So.
Yeah, and the last thing I'm going to say on this, for me anyway, is that the big thing, if you're brand new to D&D, you're the new player, like any game in the world, you expect the information to be there. So whatever you get, whatever you read, you assume that is all or most of the information, right? And it's not. So you're going to read that and be like, okay, well, what do I do with that? Where do I go from this? It's like you don't even know that it's the tip of the iceberg. It's just that nobody knows what the rest of the iceberg looks like.
Now, I know that I'm not on D&D Beyond because I prefer my paper copies and stuff. And I know that D&D Beyond is not a Wizards of the Coast product, but there should really be links to Fae. There should be links to Demon Lords. There should be links to...
They cover a lot. Everything you find in the books you can find on D&D Beyond.
But they need to link it all over so you're not doing crazy searches and shit.
Yeah.
And frankly, there needs to be more effort made to who these patrons are. I've said that I want a Pantheon book. I'm not sure it's going to sell well because only the hardcore nerds are going to want to read about a list of fucking gods. But give us the Forgotten Realms gods in a chapter. And then how the Egyptian gods interact in the D&D world in a chapter. Yeah. And how the Archfey react and work in a chapter. And just give us the patrons and deities book so that we have options to choose from.
Well, can we link that alongside... Because we've talked before about how there isn't enough content on Mount Celestia as a whole anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Can we link it alongside there somehow?
As part of a Plains book, give us a 350-page... Plains book where you get
that
to know
deals with patrons and
who are the major players, what are the big cities and the major players on each realm. Every realm gets 20 pages. Let's go.
Yeah, and it's even if it's like you say, like the hardcore nerds are going to buy it, but the DMs are going to get it as well. If you're like career DM, you're going to get it's going to sell.
It is, especially when you start doing things like going to Avernus or you finish a Curse of Strahd and you're still in the Shadowfell.
Yeah,
you can leave, but you're not actually in the Shadowfell yet. Because you're just in the pocket dimension, right? There are enough times that you are flirting with the planes. You get out of the abyss and you're done. And you're like, hey, you guys want to go to the abyss?
Yeah.
Right? Like, we should be seeing some of that. Yeah. And they should have the opportunity for little jaunts off to the side. And that's another thing that I would love to see in a book like that is a table of, on this page, in this chapter of this book, here is where you can jaunt off into this realm, these 2 or 3 make sense, right? Every time a portal is opened or somebody walks through, you run into a Gith, right? Like you have the opportunity to go play in this area.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I want to see. That's the next thing.
Yeah. We're at the point now actually where we could do with a map essentially of where to go for different things. Incidentally, I found a really good NPC map for Curse of Strahd. It's phenomenal. But yeah, that type of thing would be great that's where we are with the books right now.
Yeah.
Right?
I need you to send that to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you right now.
Sure. But I'm sorry, I don't have an
that's fair.
Archfey,
That's fair.
like patron for Warlock because, and if you're gonna do one, I mean, chain, I guess, get a little fairy dragon or a pseudo dragon or
A fairy dragon works well. Yeah.
yeah, a pixie, a sprite, something to flutter around with you. That makes sense to me, right? Tome is good too. I really do like the spells you get. They're thematic. It's just
Yeah.
the subclass abilities suck.
It's bland.
Yeah, that I'm sorry, there it is.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. If you'd like to support us, you can head to www.itsamimic.com and hit our fancy donate button. Or tell your friends and the rest of your D&D party about the podcast. We are available on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as most podcast apps. And don't forget to come back next week when we're covering massive monstrosities.
Thank you for listening to another It's a Mimic production. Inquiries, shoutouts, requests, and mailbag questions can be sent to info@itsamimic.com.
I have a question for the podcast.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. Oh, do I have a die?
Yeah, it is.
We
Purple.
yeah we
Where's
do.
this purple?
I often have the purple one, actually.
All right, fine. Here, take
No,
green.
I'm
I'll
okay
take
with
purple.
it.
No, I got purple now. All right.
I got blue. This is weird.
Green reminds me of
It is what it is. Anyway, you had a question, Terry.
Out of everybody you know, who is most likely to turn out to be a fiend in disguise and why?
I mean, do we have to roll for this one? Everyone knows what the fucking answer
Out
is.
of everybody you know.
Yeah, everyone knows what the answer is. I'm sitting across the fucking table from him.
Well, I was going to let you guys...
Got
What
a
did I get?
17. Adam. Adam is a... Yes,
A devil.
it's Adam. Actually, no, I would say Adam's a Yugoloth.
Why are you
Adam's
not?
up for the highest
I
bidder.
was going to say Adam as well, but I don't know. I guess I'll try and rapid fire come up with another answer.
Adam has his own plans, his own desires, but he's up for the highest bidder to see who to torture. I honestly think if you give Adam $100, he'll make someone's life hell. He'll do it. He'll do it for fun.
I thought devil for Adam because it's the attention to detail.
I don't know, man. The General Gehenna is one of the most like mysterious figures in all of D&D lore right now, and you don't get that level of mystery without an attention to detail.
I'm clearly an Archfey because you don't know what version of me you're getting on any given day.
And you think in blues and oranges as well. Yeah, Archfey, that makes sense.
No, let's see. The person that is, because I rolled second, the person that is the most like a fiend, that's secretly a fiend in disguise, that's Dave. That's Dave. First of all, he bribes us with coffee, so he's always trying to get on our good side.
I've never got coffee with Dave from Dave.
And
ever.
he's our coffee bitch, so like he's up to shit. And how much do you know about him? He just disappears into the wilds every once in a while, and then comes back with a dead creature.
I've never seen the dead creatures. I've only ever just seen the
And
camel.
sometimes he's got a license to hunt that creature.
And sometimes it's a person.
This is anything that is kind of weird, mysterious.
Toilet flushing.
Toilet flushing.
That's weird and mysterious.
The weird and mysterious toilet flushing.
Would you rather eat a poop or piss on a child?
Piss on a child. Come on. Fuck off.
What kind of fucking question is that?
No, this is what keeps me up at night.
What kind of poop?
Yeah, because that matters.
No. It really doesn't. Fuck kids.
It's like a
Kids
little,
are just terrible.
like a little sheep one or something.
I let you hang out with my kids.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm not eating a poop, my friend.
Not after last time.
I've learned my lesson. You guys ever had the Bean Boozled fucking, what
I
I'm
am
talking about?
concerned by this train of conversation.
Are you talking about the spicy beans?
No. The jelly bellies that you can buy, like the little jelly beans, but you get them, and each color has two flavors, a good flavor and a bad flavor. So like light blue is berries and also toothpaste, but you can't tell the difference by looking at it. So you got to eat them, and then you spin it on a little fucking thing, and it's a game. You can buy it.
Didn't I have those at your place? Am I losing my mind?
No.
Give them to me?
We absolutely had some of these because Dave gave me a box, and so we played
It's a
this.
Tuesday night group, maybe.
Yeah, it was a Tuesday
for
night
Christmas,
group.
I think.
Yeah, and we put it down in the middle of the table.
Other
and-
holidays are available.
But one of them is dog poo flavor or chocolate. And let me tell you, it lives up.
Really?
Oh, fuck yeah. The only other one that is like ridiculously accurate is diaper. Not used diaper, just diaper. It tastes like a diaper smells.
Oh, God.
It's nasty.
As someone who has 3 kids.
Oh, God.
Like a fresh diaper. You open up that little package, you get a whiff of that, but just like thicken on your tongue. It's gross.
Really?
A fresh pack of diapers.
The reason I asked about the spicy ones is because when you said bean boozled, no word of a lie, I had the spicy ones yesterday, but I never heard that term before.
Really?
Yeah, I had an account at a candy shop, and she was like, try these. They were off. Like, I licked it, and I was like, that's already too spicy. And then bit a little bit. They were like jalapeno and habanero and all those things. But I don't know how anybody could possibly eat those.
Well, you are from the UK. Your idea of spice is just more flour.
My parents don't even cook with salt and pepper. I bought them 2, like, you know, like the disposable, like, salt and peppers you get where you just squeeze it and then when it runs out, it's gone.
Yeah.
Whatever. And that was like March 2015. I remember when it was. And they're still there. They're still in their cupboards. They've never used them.
I really like spice, but I had to learn to like spice when I was smoking because I couldn't taste anything else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I worked in restaurants for years. Like I when I cook. So like I use spices. Like I enjoy spicy food as well. I grew up with some very good friends who were from India, and tried to make the white man sweat with some spicy eggplant curry.
that'll do it.
And honestly, spiciest thing I've ever had in my life. Loved every minute of it. Can't wait for more.
Now Jamie will remember this story, and so will your brother Dan. I had a thing of hot sauce. Which one of the things that we used to do at the office downtown is we had different kinds of hot sauce. You try them out and whatnot. And I tried it out one time, and it was so hot that I made myself like sweat.
Yeah.
My eyes are running, my nose is running. It's too much, so I wiped my eyes.
Oh no! Rookie move.
A half hour into my 12-hour shift overnight, so I was by myself in that office, dying a painful death.
Fuck.
For like
can help you.
11 hours.
God.
I kept going to wash my eye out. Nah, nothing. I was just like
There's nothing you
bloodshot.
could do about it.
Bloodshot for days after that.
Yeah.
That hot sauce, though, incidentally, is something that I'm starting to get more creative with as well. There's things that I'm discovering where you think you just know hot sauce. Tabasco or Frank's or the other one.
Yeah, no. There's lots, right?
But they're gorgeous. It's just another thing to experiment with. Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Anyway,
what the hell are we talking about? Go on.
Great old ones.
start over because we got interrupted. I don't know where we left off.
I remember where we left off.
Thank you for listening to an It's a Mimic production.
Okay, you're done. Get it.